I am, well, depending on who you ask, slowly or rapidly becoming what you might call old. That means that this aircraft was around in an active service when I was a youth, and we're going to recreate one of the flights that it did from my hometown city of Madison, Wisconsin, up to Appleton, Wisconsin, and experience what those pilots did oh so many years ago. I'm not actually that old. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Flight Simulator 2024, and welcome to the Flight Sim Studio, bad frame rate, Flight Sim Studio 727 Freighter. The classic tri-jet with the center exhaust, great era of jet aviation, loud as all heck, and now kind of not used in North America at all. Maybe a few places in Canada. There's some South American operators I know of, so maybe we'll just say in the United States and call it at that. There is actually one of these 727s at the Appleton International Airport, so if you're coming in for AirVenture, keep an eye out for it at the Fox Valley Technical Training Center. If you're not, then ignore this. Nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and give this aircraft the standard sample treatment, looking first and foremost at textures, taking a listen to the sounds of the aircraft, both in the cabin as well as the engine, and then of course, do our flight from here in Madison over to Appleton. So without further ado, let's begin. So,
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
well, GSX does work with the Flight Sim Studio 727. Hopefully we don't have too many more interruptions from our pushback crew. But this is a very, very, very nice aircraft. I had mentioned last week that, well, we had a not-so-hot time on the MD-80. Fly the Mad Dog X. Not so great. This is great. I love almost everything about this. We've got the full interior cabin. I guess I should go outside and start where we normally do. I just really wanted to show you guys that you can walk around inside, which is so fun. Anyway, let's go back outside. And we'll take a look at some of the textures. We'll weave and bob in between the GSX stuff. And overall, I think the textures are okay. Small stuff like there's no hole in the pitot tube. Also, the pitot tube just looks like it's the same color as the fuselage. I forgot what these are, but there should be a rectangular hole at the front of this for air inlet. I can no longer crouch. I broke that when oh, there we go. But all in all, I mean, for less than half of the cost, or I guess if you count just the MD-82, about half the cost of the MD-82, this is a good airplane. Dang good airplane. And quality alone. Ooh, my pie is done. Okay, one fresh baked pie out of the way later. Let's continue our walk around of the 727. I will say, while the livery is a little bit low poly, so like the dirt and the rundown underneath the cargo door, all of the other stuff seems pretty ship-shape. There's degradation on the main landing light, but the turnoff light looks good, if you ask me. Low poly stuff under here. I believe that this is a 2020 era aircraft as well, so it's hard to say, or hard to give it a super negative score, as this is blowing the Mad Dog out of the water as far as detail. Look, we have 3D objects in the gear well. This isn't a 10 out of 10 by any extent rather, of the imagination, but it's good. I like all the custom sounds that you're hearing with the hydraulics in that. That's native to the aircraft, not GSX. So that's all inbuilt. I didn't get you guys a good look at the mains. Oh, little fun factoid for you. I like the detail on the mains. This is very good. fun fact for you. If you look at the nose gear, the 727, I think some MD-80s, you'll see on the tire here. I can't crouch again. There we go. Do you see how the tire has this little, like, raised lip on the outside? That is called a chine. And what a chine does is it's supposed to sling water, rocks, debris away from the center line of the fuselage so they don't get sucked in the engine. So there's a fun fact you can tell your friends. We learned about chines today. This is definitely a 2020 aircraft. You can tell because of the bright external lighting. Granted, the fixture is not looking too hot, especially those flash bulbs, but I'll take lower poly, actually bright lights any day of the week compared to what FS2024 has on offer. A little bit of look into the fore and aft section of our #1 engine. Big old turbojet. Back up into our air stair compartment. You can see the heat blur from our APU exhaust. There's our outflow valve, our primary outflow valve. And that's what this whirring sound you've been hearing is the APU. Oh, really? Resource memory exceeds GPU memory capacity? I don't believe you, Flight Sim. Not for a second. So anyway, that is a walk around outside of the 727. Say I'd give it a solid, I don't know, if like 5.5? No, that's too low. 6.5. Because it's good, it's just not like, it's not winning any awards. Oh God. Let's head inside and look at the textures there. And you join me now from the flight deck of the Boeing 727. An older era aircraft, that means we have a flight engineer station as well. A fully functional flight engineer station. Now, there was an option back in 2020 when this aircraft released in Flight Sim 2020, I should say, to have the flight engineer automatically do a lot of the functionality back here. That doesn't work so hot. There's some auto monitoring stuff like switching fuel tanks he can do just fine. My recommendation is familiarize yourself with the basics back here, enough to get the airplane started, enough to get your cabin altitude set, enough to change around your bleed valves, and you should be good to fly the rest of the way yourself. All in all, I think this is a reminiscent. This would have been A1 quality stuff back in the 2020 days. Since 2024 is released and we've seen some higher fidelity models come out, it does taper off a little bit, but I think I would still say that this cockpit here holds up relatively well to 2020 standards. A solid, I don't know. Why am I giving everything numbers? I've never done that before. If I were to give this a number, 8.5, 8 out of 10 maybe. I think just the shading needs a little bit of work, but everything is nice and crisp and clear. Even up close, textures do fall off a little bit, but your fonts, your gauges, you're going to be able to read all that stuff. It's a relatively good detail there, and we'll take a look at the flight engineer station briefly as well. Turn on galley power while we're back here. And there's even this little walkway over here where you can get your Flight Sim Studio t-shirt, and they even modeled some cables, which I think is swell. It's stellar. I love added detail like that. We looked at it briefly before. This is the freight deck. So let's turn some lighting on. There's a control panel back here. Master on, galley, we'll do cabin and floods. Why is there no light? Hello? Flood, cabin. No, I want them on. Stay like that. There. Well, you saw it for a second. I don't know why it's doing that. I think it might have something to do with GSX. I've never had a problem with it before. This GSX is in the pushback configuration right now, waiting for my green light. But you can see we've got some variable cargo extra strong boxes, some wooden crates, a big tank of some sort, metal boxes, and then all the way back here there's some horses. And from what I've seen, as you reconfigure the weight of the aircraft, this cargo, I believe, moves around. It's like these horses, which actually do move a little bit if I hold still. Do you see them? He whinnied, he neighed. Horses do. I promise they move. Alright, well, they don't move as much as I remember. But you get the idea. Then there's our aft door here, or the air stairs, which are now shut. You got the big tube, the intake tube, coming down to go to the number 2 engine intake. That's the cabin. We'll reconvene here and take a listen to some sounds, more so than we already have. So with the aircraft snugged up, all our windows and doors shut, it actually becomes relatively quiet in here for the most part. That'll give us a chance to see if we can hear any control surface sweep sounds. So all in all, a relatively good sound suite, I'd say. Little muted, but definitely manageable. A lot of bespoke sounds, which I can appreciate. So let's dequietify. I can't move my mouse anymore. That's fine. Thanks, Flight Sim. Well, I guess we'll just wait for Flight Sim to decide it wants to recognize my mouse as an input. And then once that's done, we'll reopen the window, roll through the startup while we push back. Y'all still having this bug in 24? Blows my mind they're putting out stuff as good as the Dakota. I guess Leonardo actually did that, and Flight Sim just bought it from him. But anyway, I don't remember where I was going with this. Oh, we're going to dequietify and a noisen. All right, let's run through a startup. We got the packs set off. We have our engine start switches unguarded. Let's go to ground start for engine number 1. Add fuel. That's a successful start on engine 2, or engine number 1. We'll close that window up and we'll go to start on engine number 2 next. Alright, I'm going to call that 3 good starts. Next we'll come back to our flight engineer station. And we're going to close the engine 2 and APU bleeds. We'll turn on our packs. Switch our power over to generator 1, 2, or 3. Should have closed those first. It's my mistake. And the APU can go off. Realistically, you should probably let your APU run for just a little bit to let it cool down from all the bleed air. But we're doing this for a video's sake. Same thing with your flight panel here for your cabin altitude. Normally you would leave this set to ground until you're ready to take off, but we're not going to do that. So GSX left me facing exactly the opposite direction that I wanted to be. This does give me a chance to maybe, hopefully, see if we can do a powered pushback here. I know 717s did them. We'll see if the 727 is capable. I'm not sure. We'll just keep an eye on our EGT. Oh yeah, we're moving, baby. We are moving. Won't be a problem. And on our taxi out here, this will give me a chance to go over the sort of abbreviated EFB that we've got here. We're doing a runway 21 departure, by the way, out of Madison. So a lot more bare bones than some of the other EFBs we've looked at, but it gets the job done, and that's the important part, right? Set EPR and trim, set speeds. You can see we've done all of that with 2 clicks of the button, which I love. So we had a departure runway change. It's not that big of a deal. I will say I don't necessarily care for how the 7.2 handles at speed under taxi. It's almost like you get no nose wheel steering until you're at this little crawl speed here. But it's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and grab our departure clearance. Madison Tower, FedEx 8131 request. Departure, runway 36.
FedEx 8131, Madison Tower, wind tree 40 at tree, fly runway heading, runway tree 6, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 36, FedEx 8131. Probably should have thrown a fly runway heading, but they know. One quick shot as we turn it onto the active here. Again, we've got all the nice looking external lighting on this 2020 aircraft. Bright strobes, bright wing lights, bright navs, bright landing lights, bright everything really. Let's run it up to 80%. Where's this balking at? Is it my auto throttle? It is. But I need that disengaged because I need to take off. We're just going to deal with that for the takeoff roll. Knots. Oh, alright, we're already taking off. That was easy.
Positive rate.
Gear up, please. Nice smoke effects. As we make our descent into Appleton, you can see Lake Winnebago. I think Oshkosh is, well, the city's there, and I believe that's the airport. Fond du Lac should be just to the south. Don't know exactly where there is. I'm pretty sure that's Highway 41. Doesn't matter. I want to talk about the autopilot, because it does work. It's an old autopilot, and you need to know how to use it. Essentially what you need to do is have your altitude set to your final set altitude, in this case 4,000 feet. From there, you go down here, and you set the means at which the airplane wants to get to that altitude. So you have airspeed hold, which is what I'm currently doing. You can set vertical speed. That looks like pitch hold and Mach hold are inactive. As far as the rest of it, it's pretty straightforward. For your mode selector, you've got off, heading select, and VOR localizer, which is where you would switch over to GPS. So we are holding in our VOR localizer with the GPS option added. Altitude hold, if you want to stop descending for whatever reason, you'll click that on and the flight director will go to a pitch that will hold the current altitude. Approach is your approach setting. I have no idea what BB is. Is that like a back course? You let me know. And then over here you have your navigation mode selector, so your manual, let's move this here. Manual glide slope, automatic glide slope, turn knob, which is effectively like your heading till you pick up a VOR, and then nav localizer, which I have selected. So, not that bad. And then obviously your autopilot master switch is down there. You need to arm your altitude. Every time you change altitudes, you need to rearm the altitude setting. Let's add some power back in here because I feel like we're losing airspeed. Actually, we're doing alright. Let's get those leading edge slats out. As you can see, we're just starting to pitch a little bit nose high. Just a little bit, which is not that big of a deal on the old 7.2, but... So we're going straight over Oshkosh now. Which reminds me, are you going to Oshkosh this year? I might be. We'll see. I've got to, there's a largish aviation YouTuber out of Florida I'm trying to do some work for. Or help out, I should say. So if that goes well, I'll be there. If not, it's probably just going to be an after-work thing for me again. Honestly, I haven't even looked at the roster of aircraft. One of the guys I used to work with, he, you know, I would often discuss, but...
FedEx 8131, turn left, heading 000, vectors for the approach.
Left to 0000, vectors for the approach. FedEx 8131. We're getting fairly close to the airport. It should be just out there in the distance. Yeah, I think I see it. The grand old time. As far as I know, there's no visors in here. This is that crew manager I was talking about. So this stuff doesn't necessarily work perfectly right now, but the automatic monitoring, that does. Okay, so we've just been cleared in for the visual approach for runway 3.
8131, descend, maintain 3,400, altimeter 3005.
Down to 3,400, altimeter 3005, FedEx 8131. So this is where that oddball deal comes in here. So we'll arm our altitude selector. And as we come down through 3,400...
FedEx 8131, descend, maintain 1,900.
Down to 1,900, FedEx 8131. Appleton Tower, FedEx 8131 is at 4,000, descending 1,900, inbound to land runway 3 for the visual.
FedEx 8131, Appleton Tower, wind variable, runway tree clear to land.
Clear to land, runway 3, FedEx 8131. No auto speed brake on the 727, so we're going to have to remember to manually actuate the speed brake while throwing in our reverse thrust. This is where having a group dynamic would come in handy, because you could have your first officer throw in the thrust reversers while you actuate the speed brake. That's just me today, so we're gonna do our best. 1,000 on the radio altimeter. Crossing Highway 10 down there. It's always fun to return to some of your home airports every now and then. As far as handling on the 727, I do actually really like it. It punishes you when you overfly the airplane, but if you can keep it in the pocket, it's predictable, slow to respond, but a lot of early jetliners were. When I say slow to respond, I not only mean control inputs, but also the engines. These are these, oh, a little bit of a wing dip there. 300 on the rad alt. Alright, standing by on the speed brakes. Throttles back to idle. Go to flare. Okay, speed brakes out. Into reverse. A little bit of a delayed application there. Auto brakes doing their thing. Flight simulator having an absolute
FedEx
tizzy.
8131, exit right at Bravo 4.
Turning off at Bravo 4 at FedEx 8131. Appleton Ground, FedEx 8130, run request taxi to cargo 30.
FedEx 8131, cargo 30 taxi via Bravo 4. Bravo, Golf, Hotel.
Over to cargo 30 using taxiways Bravo 4, Bravo Golf, and Hotel, FedEx 8131. That's the real airplane that actually goes here now, the FedEx A330. I would imagine it's probably still here. It's probably loading up to leave in about an hour. That doesn't matter to you. What does matter is my thoughts on this airplane. Like I mentioned before, it's wonderful. I love this airplane. I think that this should be a reminder to the folks at Leonardo of what a good T-tail is like and what is and is not acceptable in the world of Flight Sim 2024. I don't know, half the price, way more airplane, better detail in terms of the textures. I'd say it's right about on par. I think the Mad Dog has a little bit more in depth in terms of the soundscape and overall quality, although I do continually run into a sound bug with the Mad Dog. That being no engine sound in the front. And when I say no engine sound, I mean literally nothing. Not like, oh, it's very, very quiet. No, literally nothing. So we're actually not going to do 30. We're just going to turn in here because there's a big ol'... That's a 767, but I guarantee you the real airplane is an A330. Maybe they just don't have the A330 in FedEx livery. What wingtip collision? I didn't say anything, did you? That's right, no snitches here, boy. Alright, that is flight done. I said, there we go. So that is the Flight Sim Studio Boeing 727. I adore this airplane. I think it's very good. Nowhere near the same performance hits. Nowhere near the price. and in my opinion, an objectively better airplane. So, Battle of the T-Tails, it's a no-brainer for me. Flight Sim Studio 727. In this case, the freighter, but there is a passenger variant. I think it's the exact same price. So, I mean, you're winning no matter what you end up going with. So, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments down below. That is it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for... Oh, actually, okay. Let me just prove to you really quick. The cargo door. So I showed you guys all the cute little cargo. You can open the big cargo door outside. I guess you guys saw that at the beginning. It doesn't matter. It's really loud, and we're gonna deal with it for now. So, thank you very much for watching this video. I do really appreciate it. I said that already. I will see you in the next one. But until then, as always, take it easy. So here we are at the Appleton ARF, and there's that 727 right next to the burned up airplane. So it's a wonderful place to be. It's not really. It's death and destruction as far as I can see. There's the 727, right?